Hello and welcome back to the garden, and I thought I'd start today's video here in the white garden. And it's spring and the daffodils have just started to flower in the last couple of days. Now the white garden is one small area which I'm developing, which is part of the quarry. This is the top of the quarry. You would never think it looking around that it resembles a quarry at all, but it actually is. It's a small area that we've probably sectioned off with hedges to make it more of a confined space. And last year I changed all of this middle section to make it feel more like a courtyard, and I'm getting there. Did lose quite a few of the plants that I had added previously a couple of years ago around all of the edges, all of the path edges, because the paths were changed, the positions were changed. So I actually lost quite a few. So I'm now in the process of adding them back. But the first thing that I'm doing today is digging up and moving around some of the perennials that I use in this white garden border. And the first one is this Selenium denudatum. Very much a mouthful, but it's commonly known as the Baltic parsley. And I love these particular types of plants. This is an umbellifer. It's a little bit like Ami major that a lot of people grow as an annual, which I have grown for the first time this year. And I'm going to add it in and around all of these alliums, running all the way through the middle of this border are white alliums, Allium Mont Blanc. And like all alliums, the leaves will eventually, in about a month's time, die back. At the moment, they're very greyish green colour. They're very pretty, look lovely and fresh, but they'll eventually just die back and go brown and bedraggled. So you do need to add something to hide them. And what I like to do is grow these umbellifers. And as I mentioned, this is the Baltic parsley. We'll use the common name for it. And in about 2 months' time, it'll have grown to about 4 feet in height and about 2 to 3 feet in width diameter. It's perfectly hardy. It flowers late spring, very late spring, early summer, and it'll go on flowering for quite a long time if you keep deadheading the flowers. The flowers remind me very much of well, they're very much like a cow parsley that we have here that grow in the verges here in the British countryside. But they are also very similar to an Achillea. They're flat on the top, and pollinators and bees do love them. They're greyish, greeny grey, white, very pretty. Also very much like the annual Ami major, which I've grown for the first time this year. So I already have them right through here, and every year I dig them up, split them and spread them around even further. But let me add an image to the screen of what they looked like last year so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So if you like architectural, informal planting, you'll also like this other umbellifer that I'm adding. Now this is Solanum wallachianum, another mouthful of a plant, but this one is commonly known as the milk parsley, and it does look very similar at this point to the Baltic parsley. Lovely fern-like leaves. This one flowers later in the summer. For me, it starts flowering around about August time, and it grows anything up to 6 feet in height, one for the back of the border, and width-wise is about 2 to 3 feet max. Probably not as much as that actually, 2 feet say. Beautiful plant, lovely white, star-like flowers. If you like the prairie style of planting, this is definitely one for you. Again, I'll add something to the screen now so you can see what it looked like last year. So the next plant that I'm adding is a geranium. And this is Geranium sylvaticum album. Now, some people say that it is native here to the UK, but I think it's pretty much native to Europe. I could be wrong on that. I'm sure someone in the comments will let me know. But apparently it is grown quite readily here in the north of the UK. And it's pretty much a geranium that grows on the edges of woodland. So I think it will suit this garden with it having a lot of trees around. Now last year I had planted in here Iberius masterpiece and it was beautiful, it flowered fabulous. And it's just not come back this year. And when I've dug around here, I've got bits of root, so it's obviously been just too wet for it here. So I'm hoping that these geraniums, which like more of a moist condition, a moist soil, they'll grow in sun to partial shade again, which is ideal for my garden. I'm hoping that this will be a better alternative. That's the last of the geraniums added. Size-wise, they grow to about 60 centimetres, which is about 2 feet. Width-wise, approximately 30 centimetres, a foot in width. And apparently, so I've read, they have one of the purest white flowers of a geranium. We'll see if that's true in a few months' time. But what I didn't get done is in the autumn time, I didn't get to add any of the thalia daffodils either side of this part of the path. I just ran out and I couldn't get any more. So everywhere else, the daffodils are thalia. That's my favourite, and I'll give you a close-up of those in a moment. But what I decided to do is to add some of these violas. Now this is just a regular white viola. I'm going to treat this as an annual. Next year there'll be daffodils all around here, but for this year I wanted a bit of white colour, so I'm going to add these in between all of the geraniums that I've just added. I think it'll look really pretty, and I do have them grown in a pot just behind me. That's the last of the violas added. And depending on how big these geraniums grow this year, I may put another annual in later on in the summer. We'll see how these do as it's their first year. In case you're wondering what all of this greenery is, this is what's left of the snowdrops that I added about 6 weeks ago now. I'm obviously leaving all of this foliage to die back to feed the bulbs for next year. And all of these upside down hanging basket frames, that to cover the emerging perennials so the pheasants don't peck away at them and I don't lose them. Now the last plant that I'm adding here today in the white garden are lupins. Now this is no ordinary lupin. This is a West Country lupin and it's been bred by the West Country nurseries. I think they're based down in Devon, and I do believe they hold a national collection here in the UK of lupins. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I've read. But these lupins have been bred with the latest technology by the leading lupin experts here in the UK, and they're bred to be very strong, lovely, bushy, intense colour spiked lupins, and I think they're pretty famous for the bicolour, the two-toned lupins too. This one is Polar Princess. Now this one is a white one, obviously a white garden, a white lupin, and they've been on my wish list for a while, I must admit. And the requirements for them are sun to partial shade, so this should be a good spot. They like moist soil, but they don't like to be waterlogged. They wouldn't like that. Moist but free draining too. Sometimes that sounds like a contradiction. But the flower spikes are approximately 100 centimetres, about 3 feet in height, very strong, don't need staking at all. That's the beauty of these lupins. These Polar Princess have ice cool white flowers. So I'm really looking forward to those here in the white garden, and they'll flower early summer. And did I mention they're a hardy perennial too? Now these lupins are Chelsea award-winning lupins too. So I'm very hopeful that they'll win an award from me in the White Garden. So I've got a few more to add. And while I do that, I did manage to film a few sequences earlier on in the week, just after Easter, of the daffodils flowering here in the rest of the Quarry garden. So I'll play that now and I'll bring you back as soon as I finish these. Why is it that weeds always grow in the most inaccessible position in the garden? But that's it for today. I've done quite a bit and I'm quite pleased with how it's gone, but very much more to come over the coming months. So thanks for watching, and thanks to anyone that's newly subscribed here following the White Garden videos. Next time I'll probably be elsewhere in the Quarry garden, but thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.